I'm Azaria Tagaya, and this is Nightline, the top stories. Datuk Seri Anwar and Kishida announced Malaysia-Japan Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. And student killed in hit-and-run accident, police officer on remand. Good morning. Malaysia-Japan relations have been elevated to a strategic comprehensive partnership, with Malaysia recognizing Japan's pivotal role in the development of the ASEAN region, with consistent progress seen over the last few decades. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said Malaysia is appreciative of Japan's commitment and wide cooperation shown since the 1980s that had contributed to the growth of the region, especially in trade and investment. The Prime Minister and his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida, on Saturday issued a joint statement on the elevation of Malaysia-Japan ties to a strategic comprehensive partnership. The bilateral meeting was held in conjunction with the ASEAN-Japan Commemorative Summit, which is set to take place on Sunday.
Japanese contribution is enormous. And now we're extending to a number of issues: technology transfer, education. And I must thank you personally, Prime Minister Kishida, for your candor and your commitment.
Anwar also took the opportunity to express appreciation for Japan's support and solidarity with Malaysia on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, urging for an immediate ceasefire. Also present were Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan, Investment, Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz, and Malaysia's Ambassador to Japan, Datuk Syahril Effendi Abdul Ghani. Following the bilateral meeting, both leaders witnessed the signing and exchange of notes of the official security assistance grant aid by Japan, which would provide monitoring and surveillance equipment for Malaysia. Both leaders also witnessed the exchange of a memorandum of cooperation on space development and application between the Malaysian Space Agency and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. In an effort to attract more investors to the country, as well as to encourage existing Japanese investors to increase their capital in Malaysia, the Prime Minister also held a meeting with 3 leading Japanese multinational companies. One of it was Rome Wako, which has a factory in Kelantan and was represented by its chairman, Datuk Yoshioka Yosuke. NEC Corporation, meanwhile, was represented by its senior vice president, Matsuki Toshiya, and Mitsui was represented by its president and CEO, Kenichi Hori. Later, during a roundtable meeting with 25 captains of industry in Tokyo, Anwar also reassured Japanese investors that the political stability in Malaysia has meant that the policies and strategies formulated by the current government are more investor-friendly and could facilitate foreign investment transactions more easily.
The new government is only 1 year old, and at least you feel, it's glad to inform. I'm glad to inform that it is stable politically, and that's why we have come out with very clear policy direction.
Police will expedite investigations into the senior police officer suspected to be involved in the accident where a 17-year-old male student was fatally hit by a car near SMK Jati in Meru Ipoh on Friday. Perak Police Chief Datuk Seri Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said that this step is taken to facilitate a prompt court prosecution in the case. According to Muhammad Yusri, police are looking at the closed-circuit television recordings around the accident area and obtaining footage from dashboard cameras. He also said that authorities will investigate from various angles and that there will be no compromise or protection for any party. Muhammad Yusri added that police would also fulfill demands made by the family members, including to change the investigation officer in charge of the case to ensure integrity in the probe.
Saya faham, saya percaya dengan keadaan keluarga dan kita amat merasa sedih sekali, dan insyaAllah saya akan mengambil tindakan-tindakan seperti mana yang diminta oleh keluarga tersebut untuk memastikan kepercayaan dan juga serta kes ini mendapat kebenaran yang dikendaki oleh mengikut undang-undang.
He said this when met by the media after visiting the victim's family to offer his condolences in Taman Cepur Sentosa on Saturday. Earlier, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein gave assurance that the investigation into the incident will be conducted transparently and fairly. He said he had issued the instructions to the Ipoh District Police Chief, the Perak Police Chief and the Director of the Bukit Aman Traffic Enforcement and Investigation Department. The top cop added that the police have recorded statements of 7 witnesses so far to facilitate the investigation and also urged other witnesses, as well as those with information on the incident, to come forward. Earlier, it was reported that the senior police officer involved in the hit and run has been remanded for 3 days. The remand process was conducted at the Ipoh District Police Headquarters at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday. District Police Chief Assistant Superintendent Yahya Hassan said the 44-year-old policeman attached with the Kedah Contingent Police Headquarters would be remanded until December 18th. The case is being investigated under Section 41, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act for causing death by reckless or dangerous driving. It is learnt that the police officer has the rank of Deputy Superintendent. In the 12:30 p.m. incident on Friday, the victim was on his way home from school at SMK Jati in Meru. It is understood that before the incident, there was an altercation involving the driver of the car and the victim, who was making noise on his motorcycle. It has been alleged that the driver had chased the victim almost a kilometre before hitting him from behind. Due to the impact, the victim fell and was dragged almost 5 metres. The victim, who was still fully dressed in school sports uniform, was confirmed dead at the scene. The Higher Education Ministry KPT will engage in discussions with all higher education institutions IPTs throughout the country to identify universities requiring solutions regarding student accommodation issues. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Zamri Abdul Kadir, said that he has been informed by the KPT top management that there are several universities needing to address this issue urgently. Zamri mentioned that high living costs, high rental rates and limited rental housing outside are among the factors taken into account to assist the students. However, he did not disclose the number of universities affected by the student accommodation issues. The minister said this to the media after visiting the Unku Omar Residential College and Harun Aminur Rashid College at Universiti Pendidikan Sultan Idris, UPSI, in Tanjung Malim, Perak on Saturday. Zamri stated that he came to UPSI to hear the complaints and issues faced by students regarding accommodation within the university. He also assured that KPT will assist in improving all necessary facilities not only at UPSI but also at other higher education institutions in the country. Starting from January 1st, a 10% sales tax will be imposed on online sales of goods costing below 500 ringgit. The low-value goods or LVG tax will apply on goods bought online and delivered to Malaysia by vendors registered with the Finance Ministry. The tax was introduced in an amendment to the Sales Tax Act passed by the Dewan Rakyat in August last year and was to have been imposed from April 1st this year but was postponed. According to the Royal Malaysian Customs Department, low-value goods have been defined as all goods which are sold at a price not exceeding 500 ringgit and are brought into Malaysia by land, sea or air. These are excluding cigarettes, tobacco products, intoxicating liquors, electronic cigarettes and preparation of a kind used for smoking. Those who sell low-value goods on an online platform or operate an online marketplace for the sale and purchase of low-value goods must register with the Customs Department if the total sale value of the low-value goods brought into Malaysia exceeds 500,000 ringgit in 12 months. More information can be obtained from the Customs Department website. The Human Resources Ministry will hold a meeting with the Home Ministry to discuss issues related to foreign workers and the jurisdiction of both ministries. Its newly appointed Minister, Stephen Sim Chi Keong, said that this includes having only one ministry handle matters concerning foreign workers.
Saya dengan beliau, saya telah minta supaya adakan satu pertemuan untuk bincangkan tentang dasar dan juga operasi pekerja migran di Malaysia secara lebih terperinci lagi, terutamanya berkaitan dengan bidang kuasa kedua-dua kementerian. Jadi, we're going to make announcement after we have our discussion and sort out the plans.
Sim, who is also Bukit Mertajam MP, said this to the media after visiting Bukit Mertajam Hospital in Pulau Pinang on Saturday. He was commenting on the proposal from several parties, calling for matters related to foreign workers to be placed under the jurisdiction of one ministry. He added that he has reviewed all the departments and statutory bodies under his ministry to conduct research and will also continue the efforts of the previous ministers. Sim also said he will ensure that there is continuity in good policies and that any policies that need improvement will be addressed. In light of India banning the export of onions until March 2024, Malaysia will turn to Pakistan and China for alternatives to balance and maintain the price of the commodity in the country. Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Sabu said the move would not cause significant changes to the retail price of onions.
Alternatif kita akan cuba dapatkan daripada China dan Pakistan. InsyaAllah, dan kita dah bersedia ke arah itu. Efek tak banyak. Ada harganya nanti KPDN akan bincang, tapi efeknya tak banyaklah.
He was speaking to the media after launching the Parti Amanah Negara Youth National Convention in Kuala Lumpur. On October 29th, it was reported that India had restricted export of onions by imposing a minimum export price of $800 per ton. The fixed floor price came into effect on Sunday and will be maintained until the end of this year. The government is also procuring an additional 200,000 tons of onion to boost its buffer stocks. It has been offloading onion from the buffer stocks since the second week of August to keep retail prices under control. Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Nawaf dies at 86. News from the foreign front when we return.
Jangan pandang ringan dan mudah. Anggap batuk awak ini serius. Woods ubat batuk dengan rasa pudina. Memberi sensasi kelegaan di kerongkong. Berkesan melegakan batuk. Woods ubat batuk yang saya percaya.
Kerana insiden itu, hidupnya terperangkap dalam bayang-bayang bersalah.
Jangan tanya kapal, jangan ambil tahu.
Apa yang kau nak?
Hanya satu cara untuk menebusnya kembali.
Kalau tak ada Adam, siapa nak tolong kita dia?
Sebelum awak masuk sangkar tu, awak dapat maafkan diri awak.
Saksikan pertarungan epik menuntut bela Sangkar. Ahad ini 9 malam di Magnificent 8 TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Leukemia sejenis barah yang bermula di sumsum tulang dan ia pembunuh utama kanak-kanak. Keletihan, mudah lebam dan kehilangan berat badan adalah antara gejala yang biasa berlaku. Peluang lebih baik untuk pesakit sembuh sekiranya mendapat rawatan di peringkat awal. Ikuti perbincangan mendalam mengenai leukemia dalam Hello Doktor pada hari Ahad 5.30 petang di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
Saya lagi suka perfume yang lama.
Bukan semua isteri dalam dunia ni sesabar I.
You're back with us on Nightline. The Zionist regime on Saturday continued to pound areas across the Gaza Strip to devastating effect as Qatar confirmed that talks are underway to evaluate if a new truce can be reached. In a statement, the Qatari Foreign Ministry said that talks are continuing, affirming its ongoing diplomatic efforts to renew the humanitarian pause. In the meantime, the Zionist ground, air and naval forces have launched attacks on the besieged enclave, leaving dozens dead. The attacks heavily targeted Khan Yunis, where Al Jazeera journalists Samir Abu Daka and Wael Dadu were covering the aftermath of a Zionist bombing of a school when they were targeted by a drone strike. Cameraman Samir died after paramedics were prevented from reaching him for hours, while Gaza Bureau Chief Wael suffered injuries from shrapnel. Samir was the 13th Al Jazeera journalist killed in Gaza, along with at least 18,787 Palestinians since the beginning of the Zionist rampage. Meanwhile, the Al Jazeera media network condemns in the strongest terms the Zionist drone attack on a Gaza school that resulted in the killing of cameraman Samir Abu Daka. Following the attack, Samir was left to bleed to death for over 5 hours as Zionist forces prevented ambulances and rescue workers from reaching him. He was laid to rest in southern Gaza on Saturday, with dozens of mourners, including journalists, paying their respects to the cameraman. With the killing of Abu Daka, the number of journalists and media workers killed in Gaza has reached over 90.
هذه جريمة جديدة تضاف إلى جرائم الاحتلال الإسرائيلي بحق الصحفيين الفلسطينيين. قتل الزميل سامر وأيضا منع سيارات الإسعاف من الوصول إليه هي جريمة جديدة تنفذها قوات الاحتلال الإسرائيلي من خلال استهدافها لهذا الزميل المصور الذي كان في مهمة عمل.
Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah, has died on Saturday at the age of 86. Authorities gave no cause of death, but announced that the start of a 40-day official mourning period and a 3-day closure of government departments. According to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of State for Cabinet Affairs, Kuwait's Crown Prince and Sheikh Nawaf's half-brother, Sheikh Mishal Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah, was subsequently named new Emir. Sheikh Nawaf was sworn in September 2020 after the death of his half-brother, Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah. He held high office for decades before he took power, and before being named heir apparent in 2006, he served as Defence Minister as well as Interior Minister. Large parts of Australia on Saturday sweltered under heatwave conditions that prompted the nation's weather forecaster to issue bushfire warnings in several states. The New South Wales Rural Fire Service said more than 72 fires were burning and a total fire ban was in place for many areas, including Sydney. It added that more than 1,000 firefighters and incident management personnel were working statewide to fight blazes amid widespread high and extreme fire danger. Heatwave alerts and fire warnings were also in place for parts of Western Australia and the Northern Territory, while in South Australia, heatwave conditions were forecasted, but no fire warning was issued. JDT end perfect season with trashing of Penang. Sports after this breather.
Hati saya tengah panas.
Tahu. Amai relax apa relax. Awak tak relax.
Awak special kat mata saya.
Oi. Amboi. Besarnya nganga. Bapak jin pun muat.
Sekejap, Cuk. Awak ni sebenarnya kenapa ah? Daripada tadi awak tanya saya soalan pasal dan awak sebenarnya jealous eh?
Saksikan drama adaptasi novel lakonan MK, K-Click dan Ezani Jasni setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 7 malam di Akasia TV3.
Cuti sekolah kembali. Jom kita main tanah liat.
Dan masa yang paling sesuai, kita ketahui cara-cara untuk menjaga anak-anak kita untuk proses berkhatan.
Cuti juga jalan-jalan, tapi privasi jangan dilupakan.
Pasang CCTV dan dashcam di kereta anda untuk membantu siasatan jenayah.
Soal wang, ini tentang chatty moden ataupun tawaran angsuran bulanan yang menjadi perangkap kalau kita tak mengetahuinya.
Isnin hingga Jumaat, 9.30 pagi, hanya di TV3.
Jika stream HD secara langsung di aplikasi Tonton.
Abang tolong sakit abang.
Jangan, pakcik. Jangan, pakcik.
Kau dah ingat? Aku akan bagi tahu kau apa yang kau dah buat selama ni, tahu?
Keputusan DNA dah keluar?
Mungkin dah sampai masa dah kau ni. Nak lagi mana? Sini.
Dia masuk je dalam keluarga ni yang macam-macam jadi.
Satu langkah kau gerak. Aku terjun.
Surat dari Tuhan, Minggu akhir 10 malam di Samarinda TV3 dan stream langsung HD melalui Tonton.
Back now with sports, football and the 2023 Super League. 3 matches took place on Saturday night. Kelantan United FC claimed a 6-2 win over Kelantan FC, while Sri Pahang FC were held to a goalless draw by Kuala Lumpur City FC. Playing at the Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, Johor Darul Takzim JDT ended another season unbeaten after trashing Penang FC 8-0. Arif Aiman put JDT in front 5 minutes into the game before Bergson de Silva extended their lead in the 17th minute. Bergson added the third after converting from the penalty spot in the 33rd minute, with Akia Rashid scoring the Southern Tigers' fourth 8 minutes later. The misery for Penang continued when Heberti Fernandez scored a goal in the 43rd minute, seeing JDT lead by 5 goals. Arif Aiman completed the victory for the hosts after scoring a hat-trick in the 47th, 52nd and 90th minutes. JDT lead the standings with 76 points, while Penang FC are in 10th place with 24 points. Still on football, the 2023 FIFA Club World Cup. Egypt's Al Ahly cruised to a 3-1 win over Al Ittihad to book a place in the semi-finals after Karim Benzema missed a penalty before scoring for the Saudi side. Al Ahly broke the deadlock in the 21st minute through left-back Ali Ma'alul, who converted a penalty which was awarded for handball by Al Ittihad defender Hassan Kadesh. Marcelo Gallardo's team battled for an equaliser and also got a spot kick for handball. But former Real Madrid striker Karim Benzema failed to convert, with his shot brilliantly saved by goalkeeper Mohamed El Shanawi. Al Ahly increased their lead when Hussein El Shahad curled the ball into the net just before the hour mark from an assist from Karaba, who 3 minutes later hit a cross shot that Imam Ashur fired home after a quick counter-attack. The Saudi champions, however, managed to end that campaign with a last-minute consolation goal from Benzema. With the victory, the African champions will face Copa Libertadores title holders Fluminense of Brazil in the last 4. Woman beaten to death with dumbbell. Don't go away.
Okay, jangan kecil hati nak abang, please.
Kalau you nak I bahagia, you kena jadi milik forever.
Maya, ini bukan tempat atau masa yang sesuai. Kalau wife I tahu macam mana?
Dah tanya ni, abang ada skandal ke?
Jangan nak bandingkan you dengan dia. I love my wife.
Kalau macam tu, saya nak request something boleh?
Una dan AB, pengikat kasih sayang Suhana sekeluarga.
Secara jujurnya, saya demam panas 3 hari berpisah dengan dia sebab dia macam anak. Tak rasa macam kita bela kambing tau.
Fashion design ni sebenarnya adalah satu impian. Saya dapat peluang tu, saya buat betul-betul. Lama makin lama, bidang saya sebagai stylist tu paling tinggi.
Tiba-tiba terfikir, orang tengok, artis ni memang banyak duit. Tapi satu hari tu kenapa tiba-tiba tak mampu nak bayar rumah pun?
Kerana insiden itu, hidupnya terperangkap dalam bayang-bayang bersalah.
Jangan tanya khabar, jangan beritahu.
Apa yang kau nak? Hanya satu cara untuk menebusnya kembali.
Kalau tak ada Adam, siapa nak tolong kita dia?
Sebelum awak masuk sangkar tu, awak dapat maafkan diri awak.
Saksikan pertarungan epik menuntut bela Sangkar. Ahad ini 9 malam di Magnificent A TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
You're still with us on Nightline. An evacuation centre was opened in Perak after the state was hit by floods again on Saturday. The total number of evacuees in the flood-affected states, including Kelantan, Terengganu and Selangor, now stands at 6,502. According to the Info Bencana JKM portal, as of 11 p.m, the state with the highest number of flood victims is Kelantan, with 3,832 evacuees at 16 flood relief centres in Kuala Krai, Tanah Merah and Pasir Mas. Pasir Mas is also the worst affected district, with a total of 3,564 people evacuated. In Terengganu, a total of 2,541 victims have been temporarily relocated to 36 flood relief centres in Setiu, Hulu Terengganu, Kemaman, Dungun and Marang. Elsewhere in Perak, a total of 80 people have been evacuated to one flood relief centre in Hile, Perak, while in Selangor, the flood situation continues to improve, with only 49 victims remaining at two evacuation centres in Kuala Selangor. Police have arrested a man who is alleged to have fatally beaten his wife with a dumbbell in an incident at a house on Jalan Sungai Chongka in Shah Alam. The unemployed man, who is alleged to have committed the act out of jealousy, has been remanded until December 22nd. Shah Alam District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Iqbal Ibrahim said the police initially received a report at 5:33 a.m. from the suspect, claiming that his wife had a seizure and subsequently took her to the Shah Alam hospital as she was unconscious. After a medical examination found that the 33-year-old woman had injuries in several parts of her body, further investigations then brought to light that the victim had been beaten by the suspect out of jealousy before being taken to the hospital. The 38-year-old man was arrested at the Shah Alam hospital, while the dumbbell in question was also seized. The couple had just been married in April. The suspect has 2 criminal records related to assault and drugs, and a screening test found him positive for drugs. The case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. Over in Pulau Pinang, a man suspected of drunk driving has been remanded for allegedly causing a fatal crash which claimed the lives of 2 friends in Kepala Batas Pulau Pinang early on Saturday. The remand order against the 46-year-old man was issued by the Butterworth Magistrates Court to facilitate police investigations into the case. It was reported that the 2 victims, both teachers, died when the Perodua Myvi they were travelling in was involved in a fatal crash with a BMW at Jalan Permatang Baru at about 2:30 a.m. The victims were identified as Muhammad Fakrul Rozi Fauzi and Muhammad Ahsan Muhammad Ayub, aged 31 and 32 respectively. Acting Seberang Prayutara Police Chief, Superintendent Siti Nur Salawati Saad, said the BMW driver was believed to have lost control of the vehicle and collided with the Myvi on the opposite lane. She added that the BMW driver escaped unhurt, while the Myvi driver and passenger were killed on the spot. A breathalyzer test conducted on the BMW driver found alcohol content above the permissible limit. The case is being probed under the Road Transport Act. As we conclude Nightline this time around, let's take a look as Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and his wife Yuko hosted a dinner party for leaders from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations in Tokyo on Saturday to mark the 50th anniversary of the relationship between Japan and ASEAN nations. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.